Yate. Where did I hear that? Right there. Yate in our language, Navajo, means greetings. Good afternoon to all of you. I thank Horizons and all the people that were instrumental in putting this gathering, making preparations, and thank you for the invite. And thank you for the invite to talk about my way of life through this medicine. Before I talk, I guess I kind of want to preface where I'm coming from with this. You talk about psychedelics all yesterday, today, and how it's being looked at to help people. In my perspective, psychedelic is not a vocabulary of mine or any of us indigenous people. It's like, for example, peyote is considered a psychedelic in today's discussions, and for me, it's a medicine. I can only talk about it as an herb that is there to help me to deal with healing, to deal with righteous living. And my people have always had this medicine for thousands of years, coming in from a little community called Sweetwater, Arizona. That's where I hail from. Came over here with my daughter Stephanie, my sister Miriam, and nephew here, Armando. We all come together to talk about medicine, and that's what it was about as I was growing up, how this particular herb, it grows down in South Texas, and my uncle and my father, they're practitioners, and my father's father, they were practitioners and utilized this peyote in a ceremonial setting for purposes of healing. And right now, I'm the third generation of practitioners, and my son, my granddaughter, they're all grown up in this way of life through this peyote. And my wife and I, we have raised our children and are now raising our grandchildren through this way of life. And that's my daughter and my wife there. And we have made a way of life through this peyote. And so, thinking about what we have to do to make sure that that it stays around. I think of my little granddaughter. Her name's Raquette. Every time I go, like today, coming over here, I would hold her and I say, I'm going to do everything that I can to make way for you, that there is going to be something in place for you when I'm no longer around. And the whole purpose, according to our grandmas and grandpas, is to get yourself in a position to make way, to help, to prepare for those that are following. And we have the peyote way of life. My people were pretty much prosecuted just because they wanted to use that, and they wanted to pray and to help themselves in this life by our federal government, by state governments. My grandfather spent times in jail just because he wanted to pray for us, to pray for his grandchildren and others. And so all of what we had to go through the years to just get a law that would allow us to use this medicine without fear of getting prosecuted was a long trial, a long fight that had to take place in order for us to get to where we're at today with our medicine. And so you think about the purpose of utilizing these herbs. I came in here the other day and I was talking to my daughter. I said, New York City, how much medicine was uprooted and completely done away with in order to have what is here now? How much was lost in the process of, I guess, what we call civilization? Sometimes I have a hard time with that term as well. Out home, we have places where we don't allow to build homes because that's where all our sacred medicine grows. You leave those certain areas alone and you build elsewhere. And that's just kind of to conserve and to preserve what we have. And this peyote grows out in South Texas. And how much there was at the time when I was yay high, when I first went down there with my grandma, my grandfather, and my parents. And as opposed to how much land there is that produces that, it's gotten really small. And so it's through those efforts that we became very concerned. What do we do to assure ourselves that our children would have this very sacred medicine to help themselves? We know for sure, and it's a fact, that life isn't going to be good and healthy and happy all the time. That's a fact. We know that our children and our grandchildren are going to be faced with different adversities, maybe in terms of health, physically, mentally, socially, psychologically, emotionally. However way that it happens, our dream is that they would have a means and a way to help themselves or to help each other through this peyote. And if that is going to happen, there was a question asked by my sister one time as we were working on this Indigenous Peyote Conservation Initiative, and she said, close your eyes and think 100 years down the road. And then after that, she said, what did you think of? How is it going to be 100 years from now? And what is it that you would want to see 100 years from now? And my response to that is what I had said a while ago, that 100 years from now, I would like to, my granddaughter that I was holding is only 3 years old, so she would be probably a grandmother, a great-great-grandmother at that time, 103 years old. And she would probably be have great-grandchildren. And I would like at that time to see that she knows what she had to do, and she had done what she needed to do to assure that her grandchildren would be in good hands, that there would be a means and ways of helping themselves. We all know that Western medicine doesn't have all the answers that we need. That's a given. And what we have and what we do to help ourselves, we have to learn to have a plan to be prepared for tomorrow. In our mission, empowering Indigenous communities to conserve, regenerate, and reconnect to their sacred peyote medicines for spiritual use for generations to come. I was, just to give you an idea, as we were driving, I forget where it was, and I saw all these plants way on top of a roof. I think it was trees. I said, if I was able to talk with those plants and ask them what they're doing up there, and if they are comfortable, and if they like where they're at, what would they tell me? And I would go over to, yesterday, over with my daughter, walking down Central Park. We got into an area where we weren't able to see any skyscrapers. And I asked my daughter, I said, is this for real? Or once we get out of that, where we can see all the skyscrapers there, is that real? I think you can apply that to our people. We as people, all of us. We were given at one time a place that we could call home, a language that was unique to only us, a way of life that was unique to us. And we were, and in my case, I was 100% the Navajo. And due to whatever it may be, whatever the reasons are, we've become uprooted, voluntarily, maybe in some cases, involuntary in some cases. So a lot of our indigenous people, that's what happened. All the ones that used to live here, where are they now? Are they still around? So after getting uprooted, we intermingled, intermarried, lost our uniqueness, our originality. And so, is that what would happen to our medicine? For purposes of science, for purposes of research, we have a means and ways of taking apart something to see what the outcome would be. We look at our land, the earth, the water, the air. There is such a concern today about climate change. And I look at how many of us have concerns, those of us that have children, about how they're going to be, what's there for them. Is it a real concern? It is a real concern. What we are going to leave for them. And in terms of extracting whatever that we want for our own purposes and our own immediate gratification, and most of the time it's probably to fatten our wallet. In some cases, it's finding means and ways to preserve and to conserve or to save a person's life. And way back years ago, when everything was natural and holistic, there was a means and ways to address all that evolved and all that was challenging. Health, whatever. There was a community. People came together to help one another. And as I was here today, going up and down the street, out home in our little town, you go down and you would have a hard time moving forward because everybody says, "Yate, yate," greeting you. But here, do we have that? I walk the streets and I have yet anybody to stop and say, "Hey, yate, how are you doing?" And I'm afraid to do that too, it's. And is that normal? Is that the way it's supposed to be? There is medicine, according to my grandpas, in each one of us. You come on a person that might be having a hard day, and you walk up to them and say, "Yate, how you doing? I hope your day is going well." That connection there's medicine in that. And where and for what reasons have we lost what was most important, and that was to have concern for one another? That one's well-being is important to everyone. Where did we lose that? Why did we lose that? So why is it that we're here talking about psychedelics and how we can help a person that has a need, that was afflicted with something that is bothering them? And so maybe our people, we move in a holistic form, a natural cosmic order. And so as we're growing up, somewhere along the way, we would come up on something that might afflict us some way. And as we're moving forward, it's going to catch up with us, and we're going to be looking for means and ways to help ourselves. And grandma and grandpa would catch up with you and say, "Hey," and they start diagnosing, talking with you, and you would go all the way around. And pretty soon, you'll come back to the time where that particular issue had started. And you would get back there, and you say, "This was the issue. This is the reason why you are as you are." And it's addressed, and then you move on again. Today, we go in just a unilaterally going all the time. We don't have a means of going back to take care of something that needs taken care of in order for where we need to go is better directed or is healthy for us. And so a lot of what we're talking about with I'm talking about whole medicine. This medicine, I don't know if you were to take it apart through science or research and just take a little bit out of that and put it into a pill form and have someone take it one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the evening, kind of thing. I don't know if this will help. But I know for sure this helps. We have a granddaughter. Her name's Hojoni. At 12 years of age, she was diagnosed with leukemia. And my gosh, that was the most devastating day in our lives. I think my in-laws, my wife and my sister-in-law, my niece, children. And that particular type of disease, they said, it affects like 20 and so many million. And the treatment for that is not available in a way. And so where do we turn? We turn to the higher being. We turn to our herbs, our medicine. This is my wife doing a presentation about this medicine. And she's the one that said, we have to pray. And then we have to pray some more. And all of our relatives, our relations, our community, our people came together. Even as far as Mexico, they came together. They helped us through the spirit of this medicine. All these ones here, grandmas, these little ones, came together. After 3.5 years, my granddaughter is in remission. And that's the reason why these ones, the grandma, this is my grandmother, they're showing the granddaughters how to make medicine for themselves. There is a way, a protocol, a process that is used. And in our way, indigenously, you say, before you take, you give first. And you take only what you need for your purpose. And so, all of what we're talking about is, for me, this belief in this world that we live in, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, that sun, that light that's there, the vegetation that is there, that's our medicine, that's our food. We have a place to survive and a place to enjoy and to live. A place to grow old with our grandchildren, with our children. A place to go where we would always be assured that there's going to be a means and ways of addressing our challenges. And so, holistically thinking, it's all with nature. So, what do we do to correct all of what we have caused today? Someone here, not too far from here, says there's no such thing as climate change. Everything is fine and dandy. But I look at the water our pristine water supply, where we used to get water, we don't have that no more. They say it's contaminated with uranium. And so, what's there for us if we don't do anything about it? In our minds, however brilliant we are, I think the best place to start is beneath the pavement on that ground, the dirt. Get back down there. Reground. Reconnect. Isn't that what we were talking about? Reconnecting? Maybe we're just floating around now with no connection. Maybe if we do really reconnect, then maybe there might be stability. There might be a good, solid direction for all of us that we can all go together towards to make sure that our children are going to have a chance. Our grandchildren are going to have a chance to not buy water like we do, but go to maybe a spring somewhere and get water and drink it. And don't need pesticides to harvest, but be able to take care of themselves and be self-sustaining. So, today, my message in all of this, this is a beautiful home where we make music and we pray for one another. Right here, I look at this and I thought, wow, that is beautiful. That's where I want to be. That's where I like to be. And my children, they love that. They like that. Because whatever your purpose and your reason is, there's only two reasons why we go to our ceremonial dwelling. The first reason that we go over there is that we go over there to support whoever put that up to help themselves, their purpose and their reasoning for erecting that ceremonial home. We go over there to help that purpose for that. And the second thing, we go over there to help ourselves. And so anything and everything that we do in this life, my grandfather says, that's your only reason. Where you go, you be a part of it and help along. And at the same time, you might get information to help yourself. That was my reason for being here with you all. You know, I think that all of us, we're trying to find ways to help each other and help those that are in need of help. And how we do it and the way we do it, it's all in our hands. It's in our hearts. And the way you do it is you have to have that means of not taking each other for granted, but that we're all a part of this holistic, cosmic, natural process. We all are grown old every day. We all need water. We all need food. We all need loving. We all need someone to hug us and to say that we're okay, that we're all right. And that's just a natural human need that we all need. That's where all the medicine is. That's where the medicine is. That's where healing is. This is a message from my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my grandmas. And that's my message to you today. And in a teepee here, you know, you talk and you pray, you sing, and all of that brings in a good feeling. And if you allow me, I can sing you a song. Hey yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo we. Hey yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Hey yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo we. Yana hane yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo we. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo we. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo we. Yana hane yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne. Yana ne yo, yana hane yo, abina hoina hey ne yo. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Azee. This is my father. It's always intimidating to be his daughter. So my hesitation is just, I'm shy. So that's one of the things why I try to keep to myself. But, you know, my father stands for our family and our community, and he's a leader. You know, many people look up to him and stuff, but to me, he's just my father. And it isn't until within the last year, through River Styx and IPCI, that I've seen him in a different light. You know, when you grow up with this medicine, it's really easy to kind of take it for granted, because my father has guided us through, you know, our lives, and we've relied on the medicine. And it's never something that I've really had to think about, because I've just followed in my father's footsteps. And I think a lot of the times most people here are like that. You know, we're so trained to just follow. And it's hard to step off on the side and to be your own person, you know? And so even for my, my son's well-being, I still look to my father for guidance. And I guess what all of us have to learn is that although we may have mentors, people who guide us, it's ultimately our responsibility to be the change and to keep what's sacred, sacred. Thank you.
I just wonder if you can share some ideas of how you see, like, should we charge for ceremonies? It's okay to buy and pay ceremonies? Something about your ways and your traditions.
You know, every time you go to a doctor or a therapist or whoever, that's the first thing that would come to your mind is, I wonder how much it's going to cost. According to my medicine people, say that you are, as a practitioner, your duty first and foremost is to help. And so whoever comes to you, you would help them the best that you can. You don't try to help them. You do the best that you can to help them. And their appreciation in how they show it, that is their call. That's their call. Indigenously, there is really not a charge for helping someone, but they give in appreciation of what you do for them. Of course, it's not like that all the time, but that's the way it's supposed to be.
My name is Kevin, and I'd like to thank you for joining us. We're really excited to have you here, and I know that there are many Native American people who do not feel comfortable or do not feel it wise to talk about the medicine and traditional practices in front of audiences outside their community because they feel it will be misunderstood or misconstrued, or that it doesn't bring attention that is necessarily being sought by the Native American community. And I'm curious what your reasons are for accepting this invitation and coming across the country to speak to a group of people from outside your community, and how it is that people who would like to support Indigenous people but are outsiders, what can we do to to support that is appreciated and is appropriate.
I came over because there's a guy named Kevin that wanted me here. I heard what I was just talking about earlier, there's our medicine is out in Texas. It's where it grows, its natural habitat. My belief, our belief is that the powers lay within where it grows. Not on top of a roof, like I said with that tree, but where it's supposed to be. That's where the power is. And then it's not supposed to be classified. And that classification made it difficult for us to even use it until we got a waiver through what they call American Indian Religious Freedom Act. It finally allowed us to utilize this peyote only if you're an enrolled member of a federally recognized tribe and only for ceremonial purposes. All of you, for the most part, I think, gathering my listening here yesterday and today, are looking for alternative means of helping yourselves and each other. And in that process, this psychedelic, like I said, there's no such vocabulary in mine. I'm not even sure how that goes, but they say it alters something that alters the mind, something that does this and that. That's beyond me. But for me, it's a healing medicine. Straightforward. It's a healing medicine. And I'm hoping that talking with you all, that there would be help in promoting and letting the wholesome be whole. And let the medicine be the medicine it is as it's supposed to be. And that there would be an understanding. And the only way that there would be an understanding is that we have to share and let it be known with each other. And that's my purpose for getting out of my community and talking with. And I'm not, I stand firm with this medicine, and I know that it is a very, very sacred medicine. My daughter put it, that's what I've been operating on. And you know that she has that. She just said that, you know, keeping the sacred, sacred. That's the whole purpose, the whole idea. And that we advocate for that, and the only way you get the help and the understanding you need is to let it be known. Thank you.
I have been invited to TP ceremony. I was very honored to be invited to a ceremony where the peyote is used. And what I had to struggle with is this is a medicine that is being over-harvested. The land is decreasing where it's growing. And how do we strike a balance between those of us who, that is not my medicine necessarily? Is there enough? Is there enough for some of us to be able to learn from that medicine? Or is it more our job to leave that medicine, what is left, and the land that is left, for those of us who who practice it in sacred ways?
IPCI, through River Styx Foundation, we were given that blessing. We call it a blessing. We prayed about what I talked about. How do I assure that my daughter's going to have this medicine as a grandmother when she becomes a grandmother and a great-grandmother and great-grandchild? And so, well, right now, it seems like the only option that we have is that we have to somehow secure land where this medicine grows so that it is conserved. And so River Styx Foundation gave us a support, financial support, in order to secure 605 acres of peyote land in Texas. And that's where IPCI, Indigenous Peyote Conservation Initiative, that's where it was born. And the purpose of that is to take care of this medicine and to somehow sustain it so that it will be here for a long time. And so those from the outside that help us, that's what some of the reasons why too, that I feel that it's my duty to let it be known where we're coming from and how our thoughts are regarding our way of life. Maybe someone might also say, I would like to, have a part in assisting you in your efforts, in your needs. So that's kind of how we're doing this.
In our medical context, we do these psychedelic therapies in clinics, and we go introspective. We got the blindfolds on, music, and as many of our interpersonal problems or traumas or things that we resolve, that feels like tier 1, because tier 2 is a connection with nature and each other, and there needs to be an incorporation of that aspect as well, and drawing from the sacred traditions. How do we draw from them? We can't just draw from them. They need to include the wisdom keepers. And so I want to know how you envision collaboration so that we can combine both these aspects into a holistic healing in an integrated kind of way, because there's a medical, there's traditional, but I think there's a lot of people that want combination. So how do we do that in the best way?
That's the task that brought us all together, I think. Trying to figure that. Indigenously, any physical ailment, you can look at some kind of an herb or a massage or something to take care of that. You know where it's at. And you can apply medicine to that medication. And then you would have your mental illness, or emotional or psychological. I don't know if it'd be okay for me to tell you this, but I think it is, because our minds are all here to help, to kind of give an idea about where and how we come together. And so, if there was a person that was having a problem with the mind, however way it is, for us, we use this tobacco. It's a sacred tobacco. We all know. You probably know more than me. You guys are psychologists and all kinds of credentials, and you should be telling me. But let me say this. So, our mind, we know our mind is there. We can sense it. We can feel it without touch. But our mind, we cannot grab it like we say and show where it hurts, like on our arm. If it's hurting right here, I could say, it's right here, and we could massage it and apply something to make it better. Our mind, we know, is there, but we cannot put a finger on it. But we know it's there. And so this tobacco, this sacred tobacco that we have, you would get it together. It's not marijuana either. And you'd get it together, and when you blow the smoke off of that, you can see the smoke moving around in the air. If you try to grab it, would you be able to grab it? No, that's like your mind. And that's the only thing this smoke off of the fire that smoke is the only one that can penetrate a mind to find it, to soothe it, and to heal it. You have something inside your system, way inside, that you have no idea where it's at and what it is. You do the same thing to this water, another element, sacred. You pray with it and you talk with it and you take it in and you ask of it to work its powers so that it would cleanse and rinse out where the problem is inside. So if you have a problem that happened somewhere on this earth, maybe you fell and you broke something, you go back to the spot over there and you talk to Mother Earth and say, I need your healing. I got hurt right here. And take some of that sand and apply it to yourself. And so natural healing, I think that's where we all, that's where we're coming from as far as, I wish I was able to do that at the level that my great-grandparents did. You know, we lose generation to generation, we lose that. But stories, even the stories are like that. But whatever little that we have, it's for her and her kids and her grandkids. And that's how we are as a community. And so they're telling me to zip it up, so.